Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode, the final episode of the year of Market Check, brought to you by BB. You guys know the drill, especially if you're tuning in today, right? We'll probably have a bit of a lighter crowd because it is New Year's Eve. Hopefully, you guys are either celebrating already or getting close to it by now. But welcome, guys. There is no second best live YouTube stream to talk about the markets. I can't remember if I said that already, but it's okay. Will the market ever have volatility again, guys? We're going to talk about it on today's show. Kind of do a little bit of a mini year in review throughout today as well, and obviously talk about maybe some of the expectations that we have for Q1 and 2026 as a whole. But welcome, guys. I'm Snorlax. You also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Chef Jackus and, of course, Big Country Tuck. Before we can start talking about the market, 2025 as a whole, and even 2026, I'm going to ask if you guys can hit the like button. I'll take it easy on you guys, right? Because it's like I said, we probably will have a bit of a lighter crowd today. No pun intended. I know they did just TGE. We'll talk about that too. I know we'll have a bit of a lighter crowd today. It is the holidays. I'm sure a lot of you guys are already in like just relax mode or relaxation rather. But we still want to cook up as much alpha today as we possibly can. And we were kind of, before we went live, just privately between the three of us, we were kind of talking about where we think the market is. Where it could be headed, talking about things like Solana and some of these other altcoins as well. But yeah, so if you guys could hit the like button for us, we would be very appreciative of that. No pressure, but we we always appreciate when you guys reciprocate our effort to stream these shows. But all right, so this morning it looked like a little bit of another raid at liquidity. I mean, stop me if you've heard this before, right? A raid on liquidity within crypto that effectively barred it. It's basically exactly what we've done for the last 11 days at this point, but really to a broader extent, what we've done for the entire month of December. Will we ever have volatility in this asset class ever again? Well, I think we're getting very close to it. This is something that I've been saying for the last, few weeks for one, that we have this major volatility potentially approaching. But I feel like that is even more so the case the more we just kind of like coil. These, if you guys have noticed, I'm sure you have, the BARTs are getting smaller. The volatility on a lower time frame is drying up even more than you previously thought possible, right? Like we're squeezing up 1,000 points and then we're BARTing. A day ago, it was like 2,000 points and we're BARTing. Is this a sign that sellers are in control, or are we seeing shorts potentially be absorbed before we go higher? Well, I do continue to think that this market is in a very binary position where, just looking at the structure purely, if these majors of Bitcoin, if ETH, if they're potentially flipping those highs from early mid-December, right, the highs that have been capping price, I think that would look very contextually favorable for bulls, especially on something like Ethereum, right, where that high time frame structure doesn't look the best, but I also, because we've kind of established value here, I think you could also argue doesn't look the worst either. So, they're probably going to say, but Snorlax, you're just saying that we could go up or we could go down. And you're right. Like, that is exactly what I'm saying. But what I am going to tell you is that I think the move from this consolidation is probably one that you should not be fading based on the amount of time that we've been cooking within this. And if that move is down, right, I think that's especially so because it won't be viewed as a counter trend rally. That would effectively be, I think, like that final acceleration move down. So we'll see what we get, guys. Happy New Year ahead of time. I'm sure I'll say it again later on the show. I hope you guys are doing something fun later to celebrate or just spending time with your loved ones. I'm going to open up the floor now, get y'all's thoughts on the market. Equities are kind of like they're down, but not really down. Maybe Bitcoin and crypto just gave you a last swipe at liquidity and we can finally trend now. What do we think, guys? What are we seeing in the markets?
Hello. I think one thing I just cannot get over is maybe it's slightly changing the charts, but that the real Bitcoin is up plus 38% on this year, and the fake Bitcoin is down minus 5%. Can we like elaborate on that today?
What are you talking about? Bitcoin Cash?
Yeah, the real Bitcoin, it's up plus 38%, and it's clearly way more bullish than the fake Bitcoin. I just cannot get my head over those two, and the fact how well the real Bitcoin is looking actually structurally.
It does. I was looking at this a few weeks ago, actually. Good old Bitcoin Cash.
Tucker,
I wonder if
I have not been.
yeah, I don't blame you. I really can't blame you for that. I will say the one thing that does kind of like that I see from this structure, just like those three highs, that kind of looks like the high time frame Monero chart, to a little a certain extent.
Yeah. Where is this? Yeah, I agree. Just this piece.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Monero,
the real Bitcoin doesn't have any debt finance purchasing, which is pretty bullish.
What would happen if BCH broke out above 700?
Can you also draw a trend line from the like 2021 complacency shoulder on BTC Cash to the current highs?
Well, like here?
Yeah.
Is the lid about to blow on BCH?
Wow.
I don't know, but I just find this crazy that during a year where BTC is down, BTC Cash is up, and not like by tiny margin, like it's 40% nearly.
It's so funny to me how Dino coins have been so much stronger than other altcoins in the market. I remember talking about this with you guys in like 2023, but to actually see it, not just from like one or two of them, but to see like this sustained strength from a few of them against the market for such a prolonged period of time is pretty shocking to see.
Yeah,
but they're full, like all of their emissions are done. So what you get is what you get, or what you see is what you get.
that's true. And I mean, like BTC Cash used to be correlated, or like it was correlated to BTC. Like you can see it bottom, on the same day as Bitcoin. Like BTC Cash bottom on the same day as Bitcoin in April, and then it topped in December 24, pretty much very similarly, and then when it diverged really was in funnily enough after the 10 stance.
That's true. I mean, you are definitely seeing divergences between new cycle altcoins, or like the current cycle altcoins versus previous ones. Man, I mean, we were looking at something like Sui, which since 1010 has not given you any bounce at all. And I do want to say, I mean, I know a lot of people want to get the pat on the back for shorting Zcash, and eventually it's going to be a great short, I'm assuming, because it's very elevated, right? But why would I short the strongest coin in the market when you could bully something like Sui that just is not giving you any bounces, and you just keep a really tight invalidation? Because if you start to break market structure, obviously you'll get a big squeeze then. But I mean, this is a coin that has not given you any bounces and does not have a lot of realized volatility to potentially squeeze you out of a short position. So like, I don't know. I just there are a lot of coins that look like this since October 10th. And I have to wonder, like, where do they bottom and do they come back, right?
The bottom is the delist.
I love that.
The
But,
deal.
Sui's
not
probably
sure
too big to get delisted, but
Don't think Sui gets delisted, but its FDV still sitting around like 14 billion with a structure looking this way. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what? You know what? These little consolidations that we've had since, like, I guess Thanksgiving. Holy cow! We've been consolidating here that long. You know what these little consolidations look like on these coins? Like if you zoom into them, they kind of look like the way alts or like Bitcoin or Sol, some of those consolidations in coming out of the summer of 2022 a little bit.
Coming out of the summer of 22 for what?
Yeah, like if you zoom into the structures that we've been forming for the last month, like they kind of remind me a little bit of those structures that we saw specifically on like a Bitcoin or a Solana coming into or like coming out of the summer of 2022, where you had the 3 drive high, it stalled, nuked back to range lows, protected the lows, then you had volatility just die.
Mhm.
And then eventually you had the final capitulation like down. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that's we are cyclically, but that's what I see with the structure.
no, for sure. I mean, and this has also been the longest sideways period since, I would say since the local top, or like local, the one we had in like August, July, September, depending on a coin.
Mhm.
Or maybe July in for Sui, but September for Sol. But yeah.
This is a funny comment because you guys have no idea how much Jackus dislikes Sui.
No,
It's like I'm the Sol fodder, Jackus is the Sui fodder.
I literally like I literally made everyone hate Sui at this point. But like it's one of the cleanest. It's just it's really telling you like the FDV on it with the structure, with the current market trend and sentiment. It's just yeah, I do not know. Sometimes, as you say, Tommy, sometimes you like pick one, and for no particular reason, you just hate on it.
My Matic in 2023. Great
Yeah.
shorts were had on that coin.
I remember in 2022, and perhaps Tucker, you can put in Phantom FTM USD, FTM USD, yeah, and
That was a great short.
Yeah.
can you actually use
Insane.
the Can you actually use the crypto chart, like FTM USD and the crypto? It has slightly bigger history.
Mhm.
That final down is just hilarious.
If you can look,
down.
Great.
if you can look at the topping structure in 2022, right? Maybe slightly zoom in, and back then I was. Maybe you can go on like 3D. Yeah, that's probably a little bit more visually stimulating. And FTM at the time, in 2022, and we are talking like February, March, right? It was trading around $2 still, and it was down at that point. It was down like 60% from the highs, maybe more. I'm not exactly sure, but like significant drop. Still somewhat bigger range. Obviously, it was after like thousands of percent that preceded it. But I remember me saying that FTM is going to, and I really use defensive numbers. I use like 60 cents, which at that, like right now, it seems like, yeah, why wouldn't the price do so? But at the time, right, like people were like, you are lunatic for thinking FTM goes to 60 cents. I was going to say 20 cents back then. That's what I thought is going to happen, but I didn't dare, because I know what the communities would do to me publicly. So I was like 60 cents, and they still attack me that those numbers are insane, and we are never getting that. And as you know, they went down much further than that. And that leads me to Sui today. I think Sui goes to like at minimum 75 from here, which isn't that far away now anymore, but it could go way lower, obviously.
Yeah.
And the structure is very much similar to that one. So we'll see. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, I'm
It
sure
is-
you guys remember. Oh wait, go for it, Tucker.
No, I was gonna say like it is kind of crazy similar. Let me like Sui, and you didn't quite get the. I mean, do you really think it's gonna bleed into oblivion like that? I don't.
You can maybe go on like lower time frame on the right side, but
Yeah. Where did it even bounce from? I mean, you shouldn't even bounce from here, honestly.
Yeah.
Like this bounce, you still had this. Like you're way below that. If anything, you're like here, almost.
There are some altcoins I think that you can argue are kind of in that place that you circled, Tucker. Like I was looking at Pendle yesterday because of course I was. Like Pendle to me is kind of like, well, I guess you're probably past the most aggressive part of the selling. But if you're not, it's so wrecked. Oh my God, it's going to be so wrecked. No, I'm sure you guys remember in 2021, the big thing that people would say was the FDV doesn't matter, right? Like because price has gone up so much, it clearly did not play a role in their ability to go higher. It only matters when price is going down, and it makes the selling that much worse. And so everybody who said that FDV was just a meme in 2021, when 2022 came around, altcoins went down 75%, bounced, and then everybody who's like, oh, the bottom's in, or I'll just accumulate at these prices. That, I mean, it's like you said, Jack, is FTM at 60 cents. I remember for AVAX it was like 40 or 50 bucks. Solana at like 40 bucks. Luna, I know it had a target kind of within that. We won't talk about that though. And what ended up happening? AVAX went to single digits. Sol went to single digits. Yeah, altcoins are they're just momentum at the end of the day.
I mean, this sort of leads me to another decent discussion. But first, just for this chart before we leave it, I think I think structurally Sui right now is around like 90 cents for FTM back then during that sell-off. I think we are in the middle of that biggest sell-off that you see, between April, May. But we'll see. We'll see. Generally, yeah, as you say, FDV doesn't matter until it does. We know markets can ignore, shit and make it go higher. On the other hand, markets can remain undervalued for some time. Like you can have a great asset, doesn't have to be from crypto, and it can trade at a discount even for a year. The market doesn't always value stuff precisely on a short-term basis. It does on a longer-term one. So yeah, markets can rally on high FDV for a longer time, and then when the momentum shifts, suddenly people are like, oh wait, it has a high FDV. Oh wait, stuff isn't that good.
People have to sell.
But that leads me as I said previously, that leads me to another discussion I wanted to, introduce, and that you partially mentioned, Tom, and that's that, alts always been used for these little periods of risk when it flourishes, and be like, oh, I'll buy alt to get more, Bitcoin, and then dump it. And we saw it this cycle, and I said this for a while, it's a longer thesis of mine, and I think it's sort of starting to playing out, especially with some of these charts that we will get to as well. But it's a thesis of mine that we had the biggest dilution ever, right? Like all of that, buy altcoin, dump it for more Bitcoin, that like started with, all the high FDVL ones, then started to move to, the AI narratives and all these narratives, until it resulted with just an absolute shitstorm of meme coins, the unload of millions of them. And that's where the cycle topped. It couldn't get pushed further, and I don't think this is ever that's the wrong word, but I don't think it's coming back anytime soon. I don't think anytime soon you'll get this, because everyone understands this now, that altcoins are only there for you to buy when the risk starts to go, and then dump them. And what we saw is that each of these legs were smaller in size and shorter in time, until they basically stopped playing at all. And I think what needs to happen again is that, and that's the only way forward, is that people will need to hold these assets for years, and they need to start to outperform and do well, and they need to trust in them and hold them. And I'm not talking year. I think this will now take and obviously you will only know it after the fact, and you cannot be waiting for it. I think you need to be thinking ahead. Right now, you need to be thinking what those assets will be that you will want to hold. But after 4 years, when they held some of them, then the trust will be restored. People will look back and be like, yeah, I can finally, believe this and that. And you need to be front running that narrative, that the only way forward from here is for assets to deliver. They need to deliver real world value, and people need to be comfy holding them. Otherwise the space is really tame to just Bitcoin. But nowadays people ask the same question with Bitcoin. They are like, oh, or that's been the case, Bitcoin doesn't give me the outperformance anymore. All right, BTC goes to 1 million. People can sort of, for some it's still absurd number, but I think people could sort of be okay-ish with it. But still, that only gives you what? 10x. I mean, that's obviously so much for institutions, and that's why they are interested. But for retail guy in this, ever more expensive world year after year with inflation, it's not that much. And so retail ain't going to look to buy BTC much. We saw that this cycle. And so the only way forward, once again, is to bring in assets, digital assets that people can trust.
I'm glad you brought that up, Jackus, because I feel like everybody is going to be quitting on the idea of crypto fundamentals after the last few years. And for the most part, it's hard to blame them, buying pretty much anything that was a hot narrative is down. You're probably down pretty significantly unless you're holding Hyperliquid, for example, since TGE, or like a dinosaur coin that we've been told actually don't have any fundamental value. But I think at the same time, we're seeing, I personally think as long as Bitcoin dominance is not breaking out to new cyclical highs, we're probably about to enter a multi-year downtrend on Bitcoin dominance, which I think is significant. Obviously, not just for the fact that alts would be outperforming Bitcoin, but because it probably signifies real world adoption is likely coming. At least that's my interpretation of the Bitcoin dominance chart from here. So I know it's hard to believe in crypto fundamentals right now, but this is probably when you should be looking at and this is the hard part though, because like, what assets do you pick? And the list is like, man, you're going to have to be really, I think, adept at not just reading the charts, but also kind of pairing it with these potentially fundamental narratives, because you're going to have, as we've seen over the last few years, right? Like, there are always these charts in crypto that I'm going to highlight, things like DOT, AVAX, and FTM, where the chart looks like, hey, it looks bottomed. Maybe it's time to enter an uptrend, but there's no fundamental catalyst. And I think you're going to have to be really adept at pairing these future fundamental narratives for what crypto could actually, what crypto is actually going to be utilized with the bullish looking charts. So it is going to be interesting. But my bias is that Bitcoin dominance is likely about to enter a cyclical downtrend. And so it probably makes more sense to start believing rather than to stop.
The tall order's on me. It's a tall order.
Tucker, not to leave you out of the conversation before we jump to something else, you want to add something to the discussion we just had?
I mean, I think it's a lot to try to believe in something right now.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I agree. I think it's hard for anybody to believe in anything given the last 2 years. Like Tommy said, it's just like, no matter how good the tech is, claiming to be, it literally doesn't matter. Like, everything goes to zero besides Bitcoin. That's, besides the top like 50 coins, right? Like, there's just nothing to believe in, like, it does not matter. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was actually the older coins that did really well. Again, if you held Bitcoin Cash, you've outperformed most people.
Yeah.
If you are actually, if you held Cash this year and not Bitcoin, you've outperformed Bitcoiners this year, obviously. So again, if you are break even, like BTC is down. Factually, it's down on a year. Not that much. That's another point of discussion, possibly, because we never had a year down that was just like minus 6% as it is now. We always had, the typical 3 years up, 1 year down, and then the down year was like minus, 70% or something. But yeah, that's the state of the market right now. But when I look at, again, where I wanted to sort of twist the conversation was when we look at the charts of some coins, even older ones that don't look so good, which brings me to Polkadot or Ethereum Classic. And when you look at those charts, when you zoom out truly on weekly, all of these charts, and it can be Atom, Polkadot, it can be anything. After 5 years, you can draw a single line at that bottom, even from the listing.
Yeah.
Or not like the listing, but like after the listing that you'll see it. Yeah. All of these lost their basis. They are not coming back. And there are, by the way, there is so many people holding these with the hopes they do come back. They are not coming back. Most of these are not coming back. Again, the bullish case here is the delist season of all of these. It's up to exchanges. I said this before. And the only way forward is try to right now. And you guys said it well. It's so hard right now to believe in anything crypto-wise. It's even hard to believe in BTC right now for the most part. But like, that is exactly the way you want to do. Finding the stuff that people will want to believe in the future. In my opinion, charts like this are not and have not been the way, but there are some that will be so. And honestly, when I'm like scanning the chart, I myself, I'm not seeing that many.
Yeah. I mean, it has to happen. It's been kind of like on the cusp, or rather, it hasn't all been like something that started on October 10th. Is what I'll say. I mean, we've seen like the constant bleed out of worthless altcoins since like the beginning of 2024, actually, or it kind of started in April of 2024 when we had those major demon wicks on altcoins, even though Bitcoin only went down like 5%. If you guys remember that, I remember it quite vividly. Just like one of those candles where you're looking at altcoins, you're like, holy shit, what is happening? Yeah, I mean, the market has to separate the wheat from the chaff. It is ultimately going to be bullish, but it is a process, right? And a lot of these charts are, you highlighted, Jackus, they're breaking down below levels that they should never be breaking down below if they're ever going to be bullish again. But we'll study the assets that don't. And those are probably going to be at least like a starting point for for where to go next. I don't know. I still feel like I have a certain level of confidence in maybe like 4 or 5 altcoins, but other than that, I mean, it's entirely speculative. But that's also not a bad thing either, that crypto is becoming kind of like inefficient again in the way that it's priced. That's how we make money in this space ultimately.
Indeed.
True.
Me looking at can you zoom in a little bit? Like use the right axis, the right one, yeah. Like these are just, in my opinion, unless like sure, you always get some maybe scam pump. It doesn't go as high as bag holders would want. It just goes high enough to stop, some shorts and make market makers a bit money. But that's about it. But like these are perma bleeding towards zero. In my opinion.
Yeah, I don't see a whole lot of comeback for DOT specifically.
And when you like scroll through the top 100 coins on CoinMarketCap or whatever site, again, it's mostly like you still see stuff from prior cycles. You still see Cardano being top 10, Bitcoin Cash 11, and so forth. The others are stable coins, and the others are exchange tokens. And then you have stuff like Sui still there,
Stuff like Sui.
Do you think the Dino coins just need to go and we just need solely new stuff, or what?
No, not at all. I think some older stuff actually has way more value than all the new stuff. But it's still hard to pick the winner there.
Yeah.
I never would have expected Zcash to be a winner, right? Like that's a great example. I mean, I know that some people would point to the fundamentals of it, but other than like XRP, I mean,
yeah, but I mean,
I kind of think it's a lot harder to pick these things that have been outperforming.
I still have a problem with Zcash sustainability here with the pump, because the pump is obviously amazing, but I don't care as much about a single pump. What we are talking about is trust issues. We, every market participant saw a pump, he gets excited, jumps in, and it just perma bleeds back down to zero. What Zcash needs here, or anything, right, is that these pumps get sustained and they continue to trend towards the top right corner over time, generally speaking. Like I'm talking from a weekly perspective. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how to feel about Zcash here because on paper this should be a pretty good short, but it's not really trading that heavily correlated with the market on a lower time frame. So I just would rather trade something else. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
Yeah, I would much rather trade something else. I mean,
I think Monero does definitely fit that narrative. I've been holding it for longer than a year, and I think it does have a fundamental value because privacy will always be an issue in a digital world, and Monero fits that role until something changes. But so like there is an actual demand when you think about it. There's an actual demand for the spot coins. Can you say that about lots of other stuff? Like people buy to speculate on the price. Sure, they buy it on futures or short it. But like very little people want to hold spot, right? It's way different with Monero. People need Monero. If obviously there's going to be speculators always with anything. Like every investment has a speculative part in it, but like people actually do use Monero, so it has fundamental staying value.
yes, it does. I mean, for me, it's like I mean, if you're buying Monero, right, like it's clearly money outside of the system.
Yeah.
That is the utility. Yes, the market cap is high. You're not really buying it for speculative gains. You're buying it for that like true privacy, that money that literally you can count on as a hedge if shit were to hit the fan. I mean, it's like it is kind of like digital gold to a large extent.
Monero?
how do you guys think about this? I mean, I think this is pretty scary, honestly.
Could
Like,
be.
I see a lot of similarities, kind of.
I don't even know what to make of the Zcash chart anymore. I deleted it off my watch list. I was just so annoyed by it.
The one thing with Monero, and what does privacy mean? Let me explain. The thing with Monero is that it is so private that you do not even know how many coins there are. That's like the positive and negative of it.
Feature and a bug.
Feature and a bug. But I believe one thing that plays a major part in here is time. Monero had 8 years to crumble. There could have been a hidden death. Like I feel everything that could have happened to Monero has happened. There could have been some death with large supply just dumping it at a certain time, or you would see it, getting dumped on through the time. Exchanges delisted it in 2023 or 24, was it? I'm not sure. But like all that could have like the market is working by time. Like hey, nothing happened in the past 8 years. They tried to, they tried the 51% attack with Cubic lately. That didn't work. Like it's been tested by time. That test is huge. And that's once again what builds the trust, the time. That's why I say lots of the assets here, you want to try to find stuff right now that people will believe in about 4 years, but you want to be positioned. I'm not saying literally right now, like I'm not saying like position literally right now, but I'm saying try to find stuff that you want to buy at a favorable price that has a staying power and people will believe 4 years down the road. But you want to believe in it pretty much at this point. And Monero, in my opinion, fits that role. Like people, even the thing is, even hardcore Bitcoiners, although they will obviously, mainly stack in Bitcoin, they understand the fundamental value of Monero. Again, it's proven its time. And I'm saying I'm not saying, for you to believe in Monero. I'm saying find stuff that fits that role, fits that narrative, in my opinion.
Market cap prediction for Monero.
What's that, 8 billion right now?
I think it's at 8 right now. I'll go like by 2030.
Tommy, in a world where every future transaction can be seen on the blockchain, which we know is the inevitable truth, whether that's through decentralized ledger or centralized ledger, in a future world, how much of a value does a coin that cannot be traced have?
I think it really just depends on when you think the West is going to become like a total, like if you think the West is going to become a total surveillance state, it's like a really difficult thing to time. And I don't know that that's going to happen before 2030. I mean, by like 2030, I'm going to say the market cap is probably somewhere between like 30 to 50 billion. But at some point after that, you'll get like a real parabolic advance by XMR, right? Like where the rush to buy privacy coins is not just a speculative bid. It's going to be out of necessity. And right, you see like the same thing that you're seeing with the silver and a gold right now, where they just rip parabolically. I think one day XMR will have candles like that, but it's really hard to time when I think that is. I really think like XMR is just a great hedge to have money that's not in native crypto or like native TradFi. But I wouldn't expect the parabolic advance before like necessity dictates it.
I think one thing that people also need to understand that this can, despite all we just said, this can go basically the next day to zero, right?
Yeah.
Like there is still that risk, but again, I believe I believe the risk is non-0%, but I think again with each passing day, week, and month and year, that risk is trending towards zero.
Yes, it is.
I mean, do you think it's going to be a thing of like people rushing to buy Monero because if not, they're forced to use like, Fed coin USDC? Is that what you're saying?
CBDC, capital controls. I think those will both probably happen at some point. It's kind of like the inevitable end game of fiat, right? You try to keep as much liquidity in your system as possible. And by doing that, you kind of have to like lock people's wealth in place. So you're going to have a real demand for privacy coins that's just outside of the state's jurisdiction.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, is there even going to be infra for, like, say people rush to buy XMR because of all that? Like, how are you even going to spend it? Like,
well, I think you can.
That's how
there are like ATMs that you can trade Monero with. I think.
I know. Just like if they're gonna really go that route, like I doubt there's gonna be. Like they're just gonna lock it down. Like you're literally not gonna be able to use anything besides FedCoin.
Yeah, well, again, it's probably like a rush to off-ramp native crypto or something into XMR. I don't really know how it's going to happen, but I mean, look at all the different ways that people are finding to buy gold or silver when they really feel like they need it. And if you really feel like you need it, you'll probably find a way to do it. That doesn't mean that your actions to get your liquidity to Monero won't be observable.
Fun fact from the history is that even in the US, you guys banned owning gold. And some people said, all right, government, take my gold, right, and give me your fiat money in exchange. But there's been lots of people that kept gold, and they kept, exchanging in it, holding it, and then over time that ban gets lifted. So I think if we can learn something from history, it's that perhaps some ban would happen at some point in the future on it, and they've already tried to do that, but people still find the way to exchange it. They use applications on phone nowadays, even for P2P BTC, right? No KYC BTC. That can be stuff, but the thing is that with a free market, you don't really can predict what the free market will deliver in terms of a solution for it. But you can definitely be sure that people will want the freedom to purchase whatever they want and not being questioned about how they use their money. And
Right.
so that's yeah. And again, you're talking about world use case here, because this will be the case, especially in totalitarian economies. So yeah.
Yeah. It's a little morbid, but probably something worth preparing for to some degree. I think we can all kind of see, like, if you're in crypto, you do kind of have, I think, just like a general skepticism of what could happen down the line. I think it's perfectly healthy if you don't really trust the fiat system. But yeah. What do you guys think about Lighter here and the relationship with Hyperliquid?
Is it lit?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is this? No.
I don't have any thoughts apart from what you guys said in private, that probably there's been a run for it as like the to farm it new thing, and it probably leads back to Hyperliquid anyway, and people get bored. So, but apart
It's
from
not
that,
that ticker, Tucker.
What are you talking about? Lighter USDT?
It's lit.
I know it's lit. Kraken?
Go to the perp on Binance.
See, we are wrong about literally everything, and this guy still shows up on the last day of the year with low liquidity in the market.
Happy
He
New
still
Year,
shows
Adam.
This is it?
literally everything.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I have to imagine this is going to give a squeeze at some point, but everybody's telling me it's undervalued and price is dumping. It's usually not a great sign, but
I mean, didn't Hype do this off the bat?
no, Hype kind of immediately just went straight up to $5 to $7 and then consolidated for a few days before making its next move up. Hype is really kind of an anomaly, though, so I don't think that you can.
It dumped.
Not really.
14 to 12. I guess that's not a huge dump.
That's not the full price history.
No, I don't even know how to get the full price history on. I don't think you can. Maybe they have a crypto one. No, they don't. Pith.
Yeah, it's still not gonna give the full history, but
No.
it basically went from like 3 to straight from $2.5 or $3 up to
Like
5
14.
to 7. And then it consolidated at $5 or $7 for a few days and then went up to 14. Probably not going to be replicated, but I mean, I don't know. I hope that people who farmed Lighter make money, obviously. what I hope they don't do is try and expect that it's going to replicate Hyperliquid and then get wrecked. That wouldn't be good. Because I think it's more likely that Lit is going to trade closer to a VC TGE or like a VC altcoin TGEing than it is to Hyperliquid. There's just more VC involvement in it. Seems like that's should be kind of expected, right?
Should be. Yeah.
I don't know. I will say if this coin cannot get off the mat, that is somewhat indicative of the strength of the market, though, because it's a new coin, it's a hot narrative. When Hyperliquid launched last year, it went up a lot because it launched at the perfect time, right? Like if you think we bottomed, in theory, this should be the perfect time to be launching. So you need price should go up, or I think again that's probably pretty indicative of where we're at as a broader market.
I mean, it's not the greatest time to launch, probably, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like yes and no, right? Because if we bottomed, or if you think we're about to squeeze, and then that forms a bottom, right? Like then this could be the most obvious new coin to long. But it kind of looks like XPL to me, like a smaller version of the way that XPL launched.
How does that one do these days?
It's squeezing a little bit on a lower time frame.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah,
I've seen the higher time frame.
oh yeah, yeah. It's not great.
It's not great.
It's not great. Yeah.
But I mean, like coins like this and Monad, if they are like squeezing in a way that could put a bottom in, I do think that's also fairly telling for all coins too. So I don't want to be just like overly negative about it.
I don't know. I think what the market doesn't need right now is new launches in general, and I understand some need to. But again, I think what crypto exchanges should truly introduce is for every single listing, they should do 3 delistings. It's very easy.
You can get on board with that, especially after the meme coin mania that we had last year.
Yeah.
Will that happen though?
Can someone call CZ?
I do think like I tweeted about this over the holiday, but I feel like the best way to streamline liquidity back into altcoins on a general level is to like really pump the Binance treasury companies. You know, because we've had an institutional cycle, and most of that liquidity has ended up back in majors, which are held by institutions and not retail. And BNB being effectively like collateral for a lot of the altcoin market. You know, if you start pumping the crap out of BNB, it has a compounding effect for the altcoin market. That would be something, if I saw it, would make me really bullish if it happened to a more meaningful degree than what we've seen.
These charts don't quite look the same. Monad looks better for sure, but I don't know.
Monad does look better.
It does for sure, but It
wondering if it's finally time for it to move up.
could just keep bleeding to zero.
It's inevitable for most of these alts.
Yeah.
What would you, the audience, like us to look at? We can look at some suggestions. I'm assuming at this point you're not going to suggest any like off the wall shitcoin on chain because there is not much activity going on there right now. But we'd love to look at some coins before we wrap up the show and head into the new year.
Yeah, this guy's been asking for Wojak for a second. I don't know if they have the new one on here. Hang on. We're going to have to compare. Let me just find the chart. I'm sure they have the old one on here, but okay. That might, yeah, that's it. That's it. That is it. I mean, it doesn't have, this part, but there it is.
Looks pretty. I mean, is that the Sol one?
Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, it's tough, right? Because like I'm just not really. There are a few coins on chain that have been catching like a small bid over the last few weeks. Their market caps are pretty small, so I've kind of written them off as like, all right, well, if I think the market's in a downtrend, I'm not going to try to extract value from coins going to like 10 or $15 million market caps. Just not going to do it. That's not how I usually make money. Some people do a great job of that. I am not one of them. So, from that standpoint, like I'm somewhat keyed in, but at the same time, I need to see majors rebound more meaningfully before I invest in an on-chain coin that's seeking another high time frame leg.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty classic Sol pattern, honestly. Like, hang on. Just like this, this, and then kind of round out. And they usually do give that I've seen that before many times, but I've also seen if you can't clear like these highs that it does this. So
yeah,
which way, Western man?
It's what STX did in 2023. I remember buying into that.
Yeah.
I
think you get back above like 40 mil, 45 mil. That's a pretty clean 2x in my opinion. But nothing goes up in this new paradigm yet. Yeah, fair.
Probably something to do with like energy or commodities, like oil specifically. I think if you pick the right oil stock, those will probably be higher at some point next year. If we break out, if the S&P breaks out above 7K and starts to trend, financials. I'd be really bullish on financials.
Yeah, let me pull up good old JPM. Probably gonna keep going up and to the right. Why wouldn't it? Yeah.
mean, financials look good to me. They've been kind of like quietly breaking out over the last few weeks, which I think is reflective of the fact that liquidity is coming into the market. If we get like confirmation at the index level that effectively the melt up is real, then banks are I think bank stocks will literally like double in a year. I know that's kind of like a very far-fetched thing to say, but
I mean, there was fear that JPM was going to blow up because silver ripped so hard.
The $2.5 trillion market cap asset is going to blow up.
Zero.
A bank that has survived the Great Depression and the 2008 financial crisis. I have to respect it, right? Like the silver bugs to a degree are kind of like the XRP army of the precious metal sector.
Yeah.
Man, the one part I hated this time of year is like, you know, you don't even get sick, but you get stuffy for like no reason.
Yeah, I was pretty sick the other day.
Just hate that part about this time of year. At least it's not terribly cold yet.
Yeah.
So it was out of the touch, guys, but I had a phone call, but we'll be leaving. You guys. It's about an hour, and I have family duties now.
All right, Chef.
All right,
Happy New
guys.
Year.
Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year. Enjoy the rest of the night. Enjoy the last moments of 2025. It's been a phenomenal year, right? And see you in 2026 soon enough.
2026 already, man. 2025 went by in a blur. Usually I feel like people say that every year and it's just like small talk. I didn't even realize that the year was basically over until a few days ago. And I was like, shit,
Indeed.
it's 2026.
The years are going by.
Yes, they are.
Regrets mounting. Hey, just to finish up this, check out oil companies. Same way I was bullish on silver, I'm bullish on oil for coming years. But yeah. Anyways, guys, have a good one. See ya.
See you, Chef.
All right. We could probably wrap it up here. It's New Year's Eve. Let people.
Yes, it is. All right, guys. We hope you enjoyed the show today. The final market check of the year. So yeah, if you did enjoy the show, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. We will be back after the new year. Will we be back on Friday, Tucker? I assume yes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll see you guys on Friday for the next episode of Market Check, but it will be the first episode of 2026. So make sure to tune in for that. A reminder that we host these shows with a typical start time around 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, whenever the New York Stock Exchange is open on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But also make sure to tune in for Market Talk, hosted by the legendary King Wabi. That is an X Spaces hosted by the Because Bitcoin X account, as well as King Wabi's personal account. So make sure to stay following and subscribe so you can be notified once we schedule those spaces and also when we go live. But you should expect to be seeing those spaces pretty much throughout the week at the same time, which is around 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll catch you all for Market Talk later today. To be our last show of 2025 officially. But until then, guys, thank you again, as always, for tuning in. And of course, stay safe. Happy New Year's, guys.
Happy New Year.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio. Monitor the markets. Stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. BB Terminal.
Oh.